and he basically brokers deals in the corridors of power. And he's got a very successful career ahead of him. He has a very beautiful wife and beautiful home, and he's based out of the movie opens up in 1970 Beirut. Well, how we understand that is because once the movie opens up, we will see the get-up of the artist. Jon Hamm has he sports this long what do you say, sideburns, and when the movie moves on to another a decade later, these sideburns get short. So assuming that I'm a little intelligent out here, well, I would say that movie starts in 1972 at the time when there was a lot of tension in the Middle East, and Lebanon being one of the second smallest city in the Mediterranean, has had a lot of tension going on around that period of time in its history, because it had a potpourri of people of the Jewish community, Muslims, Christians, and many more, and there are a lot of tensions out there. So anyway, Jon Hamm, in this particular movie is being a very successful cultural attaché, and doing so well for himself, and at the same time his confidence level is to be appreciated, because they even show that that he has adopted he's gone to the extent of adopting. Most of Beirut was under siege for a very long time, and let's coming back to the main part of the story. We meet the character of Mason Skiles, played by Jon Hamm in 1972 as a fast talking Beirut-based deputy cultural attaché. He enumerates for guests at his gatherings and about the challenges he faces day in and day out, and the chief one being among them Palestinian refugees who were allowed into Lebanon were promptly sought to burn the Israeli house next door. I mean, such was the thinking of people back then. Anyway, as soon as but what happens is, as he's in love with the city, he's in love with his wife, he's in love with what they have built together. The couple that is him and his wife, they're extremely liberal. They have virtually adopted a Palestinian boy who goes by the name Karim, and it's just that 10 out of 10 out of my hindsight says that there is some tension developing out there. All right, this is without letting out any spoilers. There will be a lot of him we will be hearing in the latter part of the movie. So now, yeah. Right. So now, okay, got to adjust the screen because my mobile phone's kind of slipping up and down. All right. See, most of Beirut is set a decade later, after 1972, and they show 1982. That's a tragedy which has taken place. He has lost his family, and he has turned to drinking to help him get over his depression and his sadness. And then he's approached by his colleagues who are in the CIA to help them track one of his former colleagues who have been kidnapped by a very extremist Palestinian organization. Hello. Video, please give it a thumbs up. I will try to get you many such reviews as I keep watching more and more interesting cinema which comes my way. And please do feel free to give your suggestions and feedback, and also any ideas if I should add a few any kind of elements or to my videos and reviews. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Enjoy your time, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my next review. Shea. Well, I would say that the movie is about smart people, about tumultuous men who are put into complicated situations to handle very complicated issues. And I should also like to add that the movie is it's really powerful movie with powerful performances, and it kind of like I should say that it kind of like builds up into something very powerful in the beginning. It takes you to the level that you're expecting something very big to happen in the second half. But I would also like to add that it kind of like like dies down a painful death in the second half. I'm not going to reveal any spoilers for now, so I will wait and watch the movie to better understand the film. It's a good, it's a very intriguing and intriguing film. Espionage, espionage, crime, and thriller. Rosamund Pike, he tries to locate his former colleague. They work together as a team, and they try and locate who's the main conspirator behind the kidnapping of his very close friend and partner when he used to live in Beirut, a decade back. What I also like to add is that I also like to say talk a little bit about how smart the movie is, and how powerful the performances are, and so much so that it's been done in an old-fashioned way. But however, it kind of like in the beginning it kind of builds up into something very strong, and leads kind of tends to tweak your expectations in terms of the content, in terms of the tension that is going to be forthcoming. But without letting out any spoilers, so I'd like to say that the movie is a tad disappointing towards the end, because it kind of like builds up to a huge climax. But what happens is somewhere far, far below that. So leaving that out, I will just say that it's pretty good stuff, especially when it comes to international intrigue, spy thrillers, espionage, things like that. The corruption, the pointlessness of the CIA is well depicted in the film, throughout the film. And yes, of course, I would just like to say that I would like to give it an 8 out of 10 if you are basically a Jon Hamm fan. Just to talk a little bit about Jon Hamm, he's got like over 86 credits to his career, acting credits, and he's best known on television. And what I feel is with this flick, Jon Hamm has come of age on the movie screen. So you will see him in this full 70 mm, and we will get to see more of him, because he's a great actor, he's a great performer. And just talking about Rosamund Pike, she's well known for movies such points for guessing who is the leader of this extreme Palestinian group. And so it so happens that he comes back to Lebanon. He tries to make up with his past. Tries to come to terms with his past, so that he goes to the place where he used to live before, the apartment or the bungalow, and it's totally in shambles. And he tries to collects the happy moments which he has spent there with his wife. And then one fine day he decides to keep the habit of drinking and start afresh and try to do his best to relocate and find his friend. So for that he takes the help of Rosamund Pike, and she's basically what do you say? She's part of the group, CIA group, and she helps him in trying to locate the missing person, that is his former colleague. All right. Give it an 8 out of 10 if you're a Jon Hamm fan. Some interesting trivia about Lebanon. Lebanon is also known as the Paris of the East. It's also the second smallest city in the Mediterranean, and you know what? It's also very popular for the wine which they produce. And you wouldn't believe it was also colonized by the French in the late 20s up to the early 40s. And you'll also find a lot of ancient Roman ruins. If you're a fan of history, so you'll find a lot of ancient Roman ruins in Lebanon. Yeah, and well, the row has got around 19 credits as well. I forgot to mention that. And coming to the director of photography is done by Jon Hamm. He's done a movie of lately which is called The Mixed Kebabs, and which is forthcoming film in theaters and will be getting the silver screen shortly. We have music by a very acclaimed music composer who's got like 96 movie credits to his career, and that's the none other than the great Jon Hamm. He's composed music for the greatest showman, the Jungle Book, Jungle Book and Ice Age Collision. So you can understand the quality of the music is like really to the top. And the editing is by Henry Hafiz. Hafiz is like an upcoming editor, and he's got like close to 26 credits. He does a lot of television work, and he's involved with especially his work is commendable when it comes to crime and drama series. So I guess the strategy was to get him an editor who handles the crime and espionage kind of work, more or less. So you can check out for his forthcoming work, which is tomorrow at noon. I think it's tonight at noon, and Charlie Says. Those are two big ticket television series which you can look out for from the editor and Hafiz. Well, my last thing bit is that I'd like to add a little bit of trivia about Beirut. You know, Beirut was actually colonized by the French, so we have a lot of French-speaking people out there. It was colonized by the French in the late 1920s up to the early 1940s. And one more thing it's very well known for is the ruins, ancient Roman ruins, which can be found in very large numbers throughout Lebanon, throughout Beirut. Beirut is very scenic, and people are very friendly, at the same time also very noisy. And last but not least, a little bit of my favorite, they make fantastic wine out there. Been written by Tony Gilroy, and he's got like close to 19 credits to his career. And some of the more famous ones are the Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, The Proof of Life, The Bourne Legacy, and one of my very favorites, which is The Devil's Advocate, starring Keanu Reeves.
Mason Francis Skiles, 45 years old. 10 years ago, he was deputy chief of mission here, until his wife was killed.
He's damaged goods, but he's manageable.
3 nights ago, an American was pulled off the street in West Beirut. Next morning, we got a communique from a group calling itself the Militia of Islamic Liberation. They have the guy, they want to talk. They want you to broker the deal.
They asked for you specifically.
What do you want me to do? You're an experienced negotiator. Negotiate.
He's got like close to 96 credits to his music composing career, and some of the more famous ones are the Greatest Showman, starring Hugh Jackman, who's a very huge and big ticket superstar. He's also composed music for the Ice Age and the Jungle Book. Well, the editing is by Hafiz. Hafiz has got like 26 credits in his career, and he mostly works on the television, and he's doing the editing currently for a series which has already been aired in the US and many more Western countries, such as the Charlie Says, which is a crime and drama series, and there's also one which is called Tonight at Noon. forget to taste the wine if you are in Beirut, visiting Beirut. It's also known as the Paris of the East. It's also the second smallest country in the Mediterranean, and yes, it's definitely not on the wish list of many of the travelers because of the things that because it's known for all the wrong reasons. But there are some daring travelers who love to go and venture out there and experience the sight and sounds. So that's all for me for now with regard to Beirut. I hope you get a copy of Beirut and see it, watch it, enjoy it as much as I did, and don't forget to give a thumbs up for my video and subscribe to my video channel, and feel free to leave a comment.